There are a lot of rules in life. Don't steal, don't cheat, don't kill. There's a bunch of rules in today's world. But the reason why these rules are in place is because they're for our own good. If we didn't have these rules, then society as we know it would probably implode on itself. And just like society, Valorant has rules as well. If you don't follow these rules, then you're probably going to lose a lot more often than you should. So today, we're going to be going over the 15-meter rule. This one's big for you Vandal versus Phantom debaters. Let's hop into it. The rule states, if you plan on playing in 15 meters or less, you should buy a Phantom. If you plan on playing farther than 15 meters, then you should buy a Vandal. So if you're going to fight tiles from Catwalk, you should buy a Vandal. If you're playing in hookah or lamps, you should buy a Phantom. The Phantom is a one-shot headshot from 15 meters or close. It has a higher fire rate, less recoil, and 5 extra bullets in its magazine. Now the Vandal is a one-shot headshot from any range, but it has a slower rate of fire, more recoil, and 5 less bullets in its mag. Just like how on your save rounds you'll buy a shorty for close range duels and a sheriff or a marshal for longer range duels, you should be basing your rifle buys based on what your plan is for that round. Way more often than not, I see people just buying whatever rifle they want because they just, I don't know, like it better. Now don't get me wrong, you should always do whatever feels comfortable to you. But if you want to improve as a player, you're going to want to get out of your comfort zone. Buying a Vandal while playing tighter angles, like Generator and Icebox, could lose you rounds. If you have a Phantom in this situation, it's okay if you whiff, because your spray could land you that headshot you needed. Being comfortable with every weapon in the game allows you to be versatile and best suited no matter the situation. So now we know what the rule is, but it has more uses than you think. Let's go back to the example, and let's say you're fighting tiles from Catwalk with your Vandal, but no one's there. You decide to flank the enemy team that's slamming B. Now, you're in B main, and you're fighting a guy near the entrance. He's about 15 meters away. Should you spray or tap fire? In this situation, you're better off trying to tap fire. The Vandal spray isn't something that should be relied on, unless either at close range, or if you hit a body shot at medium range. Compared to the Phantom, the Vandal's recoil reset is much faster. With this in mind, you should always be playing towards your gun's strength. Now, if you're in that situation with a Phantom, you could spray a few more shots before having to reset your recoil. Eventually, you won't have to think about what you should do with either weapon, but acknowledging this rule is definitely a good start. So we know what we should do and how we should play at what range. But how do you know what range you're at? Well, for one, your pings tell you how far you're away from an object, but you don't have time to ping before every gunfight. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. Instead, what you can do is play Deathmatch. This game mode is great for familiarizing yourself with each map and recognizing how you should fight each angle. Let's take Breeze for example. From double door to yellow is about 15 meters. From yellow to bridge is about 15 meters. And then from double door to bridge is about 30 meters. Each of these fights, depending on your rifle, requires you to play differently. And it's through deathmatching where you get used to these fights. Then, when you're in your ranked games, you'll feel more comfortable with your mechanics. This is why all the time you hear pros say things like, just play the game more. By playing more, you put yourself in more situations. When you're in more situations, you're more comfortable, and then you improve. Now let me show you what this rule looks like in real time. For those of you who don't know, Nats is a professional player and is arguably the best Phantom player in the world. By watching his gameplay, you're able to tell how you should be taking each fight with the Phantom.
But as he peeks, there's the op. This shot's missed. A rarity and an opportunity now. Nats needs to be quick on this. It's being diffused, but as he peeks, that player is baiting him out. The time running down. The steps are heard. Nats starting to creep behind them. It looks like they're blissfully unaware of his position, and Nats has spotted them. This could be huge. Only a pistol on Yampy to defend the defuse, and he's inside the...
In these tournament clips, notice how Nats isn't afraid to spray his opponents down. Even on this last kill in the guy Generator, he lands a body shot and commits to the spray. This, whether it's intentional or not, is because of the 15-meter rule. If you're 15 meters or closer, it's okay to spray. If you're farther, burst fire. Then we have a clip of him using the Vandal. As I mentioned, you need to be able to use any weapon at any given time. Notice how his gunplay is so different compared to before. In this clip, he's going for taps compared to bursts. Even at about 15 meters, you want to be counter-strafing and tapping with the Vandal. And now, you might be asking yourself, how come I see Nats crouch spraying in these clips? Isn't crouch spraying bad for you? Well, here's the thing. You shouldn't be crouch spraying if you didn't land your first shot. Notice how in Nats' clips, when he decides to spray, he's landing his first shot before he commits. As a matter of fact, in the right fights, crouch spraying is good and should be used. Here's a clip from Asuna explaining why he crouch sprays versus not crouching.
But like, I couldn't.
What is he saying? Why do Radiant players commit to kneel spray? Down versus the thing to tap the head. And I see all of you do it. Because it's more accurate, and instead of counter strafing, sometimes I just press control. I don't know. I just like crouch spraying a lot more than standing spraying. Standing spraying is really inaccurate for me. It's just crouch spraying that's really good for me.
No prison.
I just feel like, what doesn't the spray down do less damage more time? It's really hard to hit the head. So sometimes it's just better to...
Especially when trying to go for multiple kills in rapid succession, sometimes you have no choice but to crouch spray and hope for the best. This being spray transferring. If you ever find yourself faced with 2 or more enemies, you don't have the time to wait for your recoil. Knowing how to properly spray transfer and control it will get you some clean clips too. But again, knowing when to spray transfer is a part of the 15-meter rule. One of the best spray transferees in the game is guard Trent. Here, watch these clips.
Chamber search. Oh, yeah.
Good side. Top of their bump. They have Brim ult. I'm gonna tap.
You know who I am?
As I said, sometimes crouch spraying is your best option. But as Professor Oak always said, there's a time and place for everything. Now keep in mind, everything that I'm showing here goes back to that 15-meter rule. Should I burst fire, tap fire, crouch spray, counter strafe? All of these questions go back to this rule. But now that we just went over some spraying with the Phantom, it's only fair to talk about tap firing with the Vandal. Again, unless the enemy is up in your grill, you usually want to take your time, tap fire, strafe, and line up your headshot. It's when you hit a body shot from medium to close range where you should try and commit to the spray. Here, watch these clips from our Proto and Cryo, both professional players.
Holy shit.
What the f are you?
Oh my god!
They're molly, they're molly.
One enemy remaining.
No.
Spike down.
Notice how in a Protoss clip, he's just one-tapping people. With a Phantom, these could be 140s, requiring extra spray and maybe even some crouching. If he doesn't land the shot right away, you see him strafe slightly, let his recoil reset, make a micro adjustment, and go for another one tap. And in Cryo's clip, he knows how short the reset for the Vandal's recoil is. Because of this, he doesn't have to spray transfer, but instead let his recoil reset and hit the shots. Had the enemy team been more together, maybe he spray transfers, but regardless, this 15-meter rule comes into play again. They're not close enough to spray, so go for the taps. And since earlier I showed off how Nats was so good with the Phantom, I'm going to show you some clips from one of the best Vandal users in the game, Liquid Scream. Scream is a Vandal menace, and in these clips, you should be able to identify where and why the 15-meter clip is being used. Here, watch these.
Strong. Hey, go ace. Go ace. Screaming, babe. Screaming, babe. Go ace. Okay, bro. That's it. When? No. You know, no.
Poised in position, he's got SSK. And that's gonna be one. It's clinical, it's clean, but he needs some more. And he doesn't know where Cloud quite is yet. He's got an inkling, he's got an idea, he's got the concept, he's made the move. He's got another! Body's starting to fall. He's got the 1v1, 4 bullets remain! And he only needed him! Scream's a god!
Oh my word.
So Cass, just playing in that ailing position. The rotate is near enough instant because...
Okay.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
My god, Scream! Oh, that is... that's disgusting. And Scream closes it with 4. Oh.
In these clips, you can tell that depending on his range, the gun he's using, and the fight he's taking, that he's implementing this 15-meter rule into his gameplay. Scream is the Vandal master, Nats is the Phantom master, but what they have in common is that they can use either weapon extremely effectively no matter what situation they're in. So you as an improving player should try and implement this rule into your gunfights, and over time, this will come natural, and you know how to best deal with each individual duel. But this is all just one of many in-depth guides that we have on our website though. Also, if you want a chance at having your VOD reviewed, be sure to subscribe to our website at SkillCapped.com. We also have tons of Radiant Smurf commentaries where we have Radiant players walking through exactly how to have the most impact possible in a bunch of different situations. It's also backed by a rank improvement guarantee, and the reason to do that is because you're just that confident that our service works. And if it doesn't work, then you shouldn't pay. So what are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose. Head it over to SkillCapped.com and get started in your way to that rank that you deserve. So hopefully you've come out of this video learning a thing or two about your gunfights. The 15-meter rule is an unspoken rule in Valorant, but it's a helpful one. For you newer players, I recommend hopping into Deathmatch and trying out this rule for yourself. But once you feel comfortable, then apply it to your games. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. And that's all for us. I'm Teets, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.